You are not exhausted because you work too hard. You are exhausted because you consume too much. Never in history have we had so much access to knowledge, and never have we felt so mentally drained. You open your phone to learn something, and minutes later you're lost between short videos, notifications, and instant promises of productivity. By the end of the day, the feeling is strange. You saw a lot, but you didn't grow. You just feel heavier. This isn't a lack of discipline. It's cognitive overload. The human brain did not evolve to process the volume of stimuli it receives today. Every notification interrupts your focus. Every scroll resets your attention cycle. Without noticing, you train your mind to stay nowhere long enough to truly learn. The problem is not lack of information. It is excess without assimilation. For centuries, knowledge was rare and sacred. Monks copied books by hand. Philosophers walked for hours reflecting on a single idea. Today, we jump between dozens of topics in minutes and call it learning. Information consumed without inner silence never becomes wisdom. And perhaps the hardest truth is this: you are not falling behind because you lack ability. You are sabotaging yourself through the way you learn. If this channel becomes part of your routine, it won't be mere entertainment. It will be a quiet commitment to mental clarity and self-development. Subscribing won't change your life by itself, but it symbolizes a decision to stop living on autopilot. Because continuing like this has a cost. And almost no one realizes they're already paying it. Failure to learn does not begin with intelligence. It begins with survival programming. Your brain was not designed to seek depth. It was designed to conserve energy and avoid threats. Anything that demands sustained cognitive effort is interpreted as unnecessary expenditure. That is why quick distractions feel so attractive. They deliver small rewards with minimal effort. Dopamine, often called the motivation molecule, does not reward completion. It rewards anticipation. Every notification, every new post, every update promises novelty. Your brain quickly learns that clicking, scrolling, and switching tasks generate small chemical bursts that mimic satisfaction. But there is a hidden cost. The more you consume rapid stimuli, the less tolerance you develop for deep effort. Reading for 20 minutes begins to feel difficult. Studying for an hour feels unbearable. Sitting in silence with your own thoughts becomes uncomfortable. This is not laziness. It is neurological conditioning. Attention functions like a muscle. When used only in short bursts, it loses endurance. And without mental endurance, deep learning cannot exist. Stoic philosophers trained the mind to tolerate discomfort through reflection and restraint. Zen monks practiced stillness to observe their thoughts without reacting. Today, we react to every stimulus before we even realize we reacted. There is another silent error reinforced since childhood. We were taught that learning means accumulating answers. Memorize, repeat, pass the test. But the brain learns best when it struggles with difficult questions, when it makes mistakes, when it retrieves information instead of rereading it. Learning hurts a little, and the modern mind has been trained to avoid all discomfort. This is the paradox. We want growth, but we avoid the discomfort required for growth. Meanwhile, we blame time, motivation, or talent. It is none of those. It is an invisible system shaping your attention, memory, and capacity for deep thought. And if nothing changes, the consequences run deeper than they appear. Most people believe they are evolving because they are constantly consuming something new. But consumption is not progress. It is mental occupation. If nothing changes, something silent begins to happen. Your ability to think independently diminishes. You recognize ideas but cannot develop them. You remember concepts but cannot apply them. You know a little about everything and deeply about nothing. This state creates a dangerous illusion of competence. You feel like you are learning because everything seems familiar, but familiarity is not mastery. It is repetition without depth. And when life demands clarity, decision, and independent thinking, this superficiality reveals itself. The cost does not appear immediately. It shows up in postponed decisions, unfinished projects, opportunities that require sustained focus you can no longer maintain. Over time, the mind adapts to the shallow. Deep conversations feel tiring. Books feel too slow. Long reflections feel unproductive. Silence becomes uncomfortable because it reveals the internal noise you learned to avoid. Without noticing, you become dependent on stimulation. And a mind dependent on stimulation loses its ability to create. Great ideas are born in the space between stimuli, in the silent interval where the brain connects patterns, organizes experience, and transforms information into insight. When that space disappears, creativity does not die dramatically. It dissolves slowly. This is the true cost of continuous distraction. Not lost time, but lost depth, lost mental autonomy, lost clarity about your own life. And perhaps the most unsettling truth is this: the modern world rewards speed, but wisdom has always belonged to those who can slow down. If you continue at this pace, it will not be lack of information that limits your life. It will be the inability to transform it into understanding. And here, the inner conflict begins. One part of you knows this. Another still seeks the comfort of distraction. You recognize the pattern. You promise to focus, organize your routine, study with depth. For a few days, there is energy, a sense of beginning again. Then fatigue appears, a notification arrives, a quick break happens, and the old behavior returns with the familiarity of an old habit. This is not a lack of character. It is the brain choosing the path of least resistance. There is a constant tension inside you. On one side, the version that seeks clarity, discipline, and growth. On the other, the version that seeks immediate comfort, quick relief, and absence of effort. This battle does not happen once a week. It happens dozens of times a day in small, nearly invisible decisions. Get up or hit snooze. Read one more page or open another tab. Sit in silence or seek distraction. Each choice seems insignificant, yet this is how identities are formed. Immediate comfort always feels harmless. It sounds no alarms. It simply postpones the discomfort required for change. Gradually, you begin to believe discipline is too rigid. Depth requires too much time. Maybe it just isn't for you. This is the quietest trap of all, turning surrender into a reasonable narrative. Meanwhile, the mind adapts to fragmentation. Task switching feels like productivity. Being busy feels like progress. Yet internally, there is a persistent sense of dispersion, as if your attention were scattered into fragments impossible to gather. Discipline appears restrictive. In truth, it is the structure that protects your attention in a world designed to capture it. Without structure, you react. With structure, you choose. Choosing requires tolerating the initial discomfort of not yielding to impulse. Many retreat here, not because they don't want change, but because they underestimate the strength of habit and overestimate the role of motivation. The hard truth is simple. Constant comfort produces silent stagnation. The good news is this: the same mind that learned distraction can be trained to recover depth. And that does not require a life revolution. It requires a method. No real change begins with a giant leap. It begins with a clear boundary. If you want to recover your ability to learn, think deeply, and create with clarity, you must stop treating your attention as infinite. It is not. Attention is directed life energy. Where it rests, your life is built. The first step is not to study more. It is to reduce noise. Silence non-essential notifications. Create short blocks of uninterrupted focus. 10 minutes of full attention is more powerful than an hour of fragmentation. The brain requires continuity to transform information into understanding. The second step is replacing passive consumption with active participation. Instead of rereading, recall. Instead of watching, write. Instead of agreeing, question. When you force the mind to retrieve and reorganize knowledge, new connections form. In that effort, learning takes root. The third step is allowing silence, not as absence, but as integration. Walk without stimulation. Sit a few minutes without screens. In this interval, the brain consolidates memory and transforms experience into insight. Finally, abandon the idea that motivation must come first. Action precedes motivation. Systems precede results. A fixed time, a simple daily ritual, a small consistent target. These build discipline without requiring heroism. Zen masters call this practice. Stoics call it mental training. Neuroscience calls it neural adaptation. The name does not matter. The effect is the same. You become someone capable of remaining. And remaining is rare. In a world that rewards speed, depth becomes an advantage. In a culture of distraction, focus becomes freedom. When your attention is no longer hijacked, you recover something essential: mental autonomy. Learning stops being an effort. It becomes a way of living. If you made it this far, comment the word clarity, not for me, but as a quiet commitment to protect your attention and deepen your life. Because the mind that learns to remain, learns to transform everything it touches.